right, I'm back with This Week at Tassi, my weekly news roundup. Some fun stories this week to cover. A lot of these happen kind of in the tail end of the week here, but I figured I'd go through them in case you missed them. Some of them you probably did, but we'll see. We will start with something that is a crossover between entertainment and video gaming. Netflix made a big announcement that they are doing a live-action Assassin's Creed show in conjunction with Ubisoft. This is a result of a deal that began back in 2020. They partnered with Netflix saying they were going to do something with Assassin's Creed, and then they did nothing for apparently 5 years. Now they've announced that the series is coming from it's a guy who worked on Westworld and then a guy who worked on the Halo show. He also worked on The Killing, which had one good season at least. And they're, super excited about it. Oh, Assassin's Creed is a grand adventure of violence and history and sex. And I'm like, is there that much sex in Assassin's Creed? I don't remember that. And so we don't have a date on this. I would expect this not to arrive until 2027. We don't have a format, and most importantly, we don't have an idea of what exactly is being covered or adapted here. So obviously there are a zillion Assassin's Creed games, and the idea might be to adapt a specific one, a specific popular one, a specific one that lends itself to TV better. I've seen some people saying like, they shouldn't adapt a game directly. That's not going to go well. They should kind of do their own thing. Well, we did that before. We had a Assassin's Creed movie starring Michael Fassbender in, I don't even know what that was, like 2017 or something. It's a long time ago. Outrageously awful movie. They did their own thing where, they were trying to get the concept down, but it was not based on any specific game. It was such like an incoherent movie. I can barely even remember it, but it was bad. Everyone thought it was bad. So I think it's a pretty big risk not adapting one of the better games. What game would that be? The highest scored game in the series is Assassin's Creed 2 with Ezio. Obviously the first game is with Altair, so you could start there. In terms of popular games, AC Valhalla is the highest selling game in the series, the Viking ones. As far as we know, I think Shadows, the one that just came out, the Ninja one, Samurai one is second best selling or fastest selling or something like that. Elsewhere, I really, really like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, starring Cassandra. I think that is at least my favorite entry. I don't know if other people agree. I think the fan favorite pick is Black Flag. Generally speaking, I think it's either that or 2 that people really cite the most often as being something they like in terms of the grand scope of the series. There's also Assassin's Creed Origins, which goes a lot into the origins of the AC Order. And all they really said, it's like Assassins versus Templars. There's a whole lot of stuff you could do here. Obviously, one idea is that you could do one time period per season. So that would actually make a lot of sense given the trajectory of the series. But again, we don't know. I've played pretty much every Assassin's Creed game. I really liked Shadows most recently. I'm obviously pretty skeptical about this. We are in a better state of doing video game adaptations than we used to be. Live action ones have worked. The Last of Us season 1, Fallout, things like that have actually gone pretty well. But we'll see. This seems like a hugely expensive show. We'll see how much Netflix puts into it. We'll see what the interest is for an Assassin's Creed live action show. But here we go. After that, big launch this week in the form of Donkey Kong Bananza. Bananza? No, it's Bananza, right? That launched and had last time I looked, a 91 on Metacritic, tons of perfect 10s, and IGN 10 out of 10, which is something you do not see very often. That puts it in contention with Game of the Year, in that shortlist, along with Expedition 33, Blueprints, Death Stranding, I guess Kingdom Come, and most of those games are games that IGN gave a 9 to. So, above and beyond for that outlet, Gene Park, the Washington Post, gave it a 10 out of 10. It's easily supposed to be the best Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive game so far. Everyone's going to buy Mario Kart, but Bananza seems like it's a really kind of innovative, interesting game that is more along the lines of Mario Odyssey. if you look at like the grand scope of Switch releases and whatever, like people forget those were like insane releases. Like Breath of the Wild had a 97 Metacritic, Odyssey had a 96, Tears of the Kingdom was like a 96. There's like some insane numbers there, but a 91, that's amazing. That's one of the highest rated games of the year. I think it's maybe tied for fourth place among major releases. Expedition 33 is first. And then I think it's Blueprints is second, and I'm kind of forgetting what else is tied for there, but DK is either tied for third or fourth, I think. So that's a big launch for Nintendo. Nintendo was kind of criticized for not having enough launch games or games to draw people in for the brand new hardware. Did not stop it from breaking sales records, which some of us games press underestimated. I mean, I knew it would sell well. It was a very weird launch of a system where it didn't seem as buzzy as past systems, but it's Nintendo Switch 2. It was going to sell a ton. So I don't have one. I haven't felt the need to buy one. I probably played like 5 Switch games over that entire generation, like the top ones that you'll probably think of, all the ones I just mentioned and stuff, but it's just not really a system that I cared to play that much compared to modern systems, I play pretty much everything on PC now. So, Switch to PC, it's not hugely overlapping audiences. Now, however, with 2 kids, a portable system I can play and pause games in sounds pretty appealing. Although I might buy a Steam Deck or that PlayStation thing. So we'll see. So great reviews for that. Go pick it up if you have a Switch 2. I doubt you can go wrong with that. Yesterday, there was the launch of Cyberpunk 2077's 2.3 patch, 2.3 update, where it was announced like the day before, and then it was detailed the next day, and then it launched the next day. This is the 3rd post-launch patch for Cyberpunk, and people just don't get it, man. People are like in the chat being like, "Oh, expansion time. Oh, that reminds me. I need to write a thing about the Easter eggs there." All right, I'm going to do that after this. I think that'll be my last post of the day. There are some cool Easter eggs. There's some billboards and stuff they added about like casinos and gambling, and like obviously that was a big tease there. Again, I don't think they're teasing expansion or anything, but I mean, who friggin' knows with these guys. Anyway, the actual content of this that people may have been somewhat disappointed by was it's more car stuff and it's more photo mode stuff, and that's kind of it. The car stuff they added about 4 new cars and like little mini quests to get them. So that's cool. The cars look really awesome. They did even more expansion of this elaborate car color customization system where you like steal colors from other cars you see. And they really try to make everything like in lore, like in universe lore in terms of like how these things operate, which is kind of funny. So they're like, now you can do it on lower end cars. And it's a hacked version of the system that like people use to grab luxury car paints, and I'm like, it's pretty funny. But there's also a new auto drive system where you just like hit a button and it will slowly drive you to your destination, like following traffic rules and stuff. Or you can just hit aimless drive and it'll just drive all around, which is, I don't know, ASMR something, Cyberpunk. Guess that's a thing. There's also the Delamain taxi service you can call to have you auto drive places. Okay, and then there's photo mode stuff, where they added a bunch of new NPCs. You can pose like new lighting, new stickers, new pose, like tons and tons of new stuff. They said it's the most feature complete photo mode in gaming. I think that's true. I mean, they've done like 4 passes over photo mode now to the point where it's crazy. And like, it was pretty good to start with, honestly. And the stuff they've added over the years is nuts. It's just, I think I wish they would move a little on from car stuff and photo mode stuff, because that's been like large portions of these post-launch updates. That said, it's good we're getting post-launch updates at all when they said they were going to stop development. I do wonder what some of these teases may be leading to. Maybe it's Cyberpunk 2 stuff. They're not going to launch a secret expansion, are they? Like, there's no way. They can't do that. That would have leaked, right? Okay. Lord only knows if they do that. It would be nuts, but I'm not going to bank on that. I think we're going to do more of these smaller patches, although the studio that was helping work on these Virtuos just had a bunch of layoffs, so that sucks. So we'll see if that affects plans in the future. I just wrote up a story today about how there's like a VC firm estimating that GTA 6 will be the biggest gaming launch in history, and that it will sell 7.6 billion units in its first 2 months. First one, easy prediction. Obviously, it's going to be the biggest video game launch in history. It will be the biggest entertainment launch in history. GTA 5 sold 1 billion units in its first 3 days. No, sorry, $1 billion worth of units in its first 3 days, not 1 billion units. That was a record by far. I expect this to surpass that. Digging into that 7.6 billion number, that's not going to happen. That's not physically possible. Everyone's like, oh, well, hype's so much better. Like, it's, that seems possible to me. No, it's not. That would be 95 million units sold. It took GTA 5 about 5 years to get to that point, even after all the, blinding hype and Game of the Year and all this stuff. GTA Online, like, it still took 5 years to say you're going to do that in 2 months. Okay. There's also a very sharp drop off, pretty quickly after this. I think it took 9 months for GTA 5 to get to 2 billion. There's another prediction that GTA 6 will get to 2 billion in the first month. I won't rule that one out, but like, it's a very, very sharp drop off because people, if you want the game, everybody wants GTA 6. Why would you not buy it at launch in its first week? Whatever. And this is also an era where we don't have to wait outside of stores to, pick up a physical copy of the game. Everyone's just going to be downloading it. So that'll be even more skewed to day one launches. So 7.6, billion dollars or 95 million copies sold in 2 months. Crazy. The other thing that's fun to notice that I just did is this is only a current gen game. So it's coming out on PS5 and the Xbox Series systems. I assume Series S, right? So if you combine sales of those, I think it's like 77 million PS5s, and like estimates for Xbox are like 35 million. So, you're combining for what, like around 110 million, and you're going to sell 95 million because there's no PC launch yet. They're saving to double sell that. There's no Switch or Switch 2 launch. It's just those two systems. So you're going to have what, like a 90% attach rate for GTA 6 for every console in this generation ever sold. Again, I get it's GTA 6. Things like that don't happen. Like, there's no way. So that, I think it's okay to estimate all these records are going to be broken. It certainly is going to be, a couple billion, but 7.6 billion makes like literally no sense. So, and then we will end with my regular beat, Destiny 2, The Edge of Fate. Whole lot of ups and downs here. I've written and spoken about how I think this is one of the best campaign narratives they've ever done. I really love it. Narrative team killed it. VA team killed it. I'm not going to go into spoilers, but worth playing just for that. Everything else, I'm not going to do a review of what I think. Again, I already did that. But in terms of what kind of is happening with the community, what people are saying, what's happened, there's so many bugs. Like, PlayStation just doesn't have sound half the time for a lot of things. But now we've entered an era where, as of yesterday, I think it was yesterday night. It wasn't this morning, was it? I'm losing time because of lack of sleep. They disabled Encore and the entire triple grapple mechanic for Pinnacle Ops. What was happening there is people were doing these very fast 15-minute runs to dramatically increase their power and get really high tier loot. So this created a divide between people who were just like chilling doing the campaign, like me, and people who found out about this grind and just went crazy for it and skyrocketed their power in a way that probably would have taken weeks, if not months, to do, like the quote correct way. And now Bungie disabled it, and they're obviously going to do something so that you can happen again. But now you have the split between the player base of like ultra hardcore grinders who have like super high power and high tier gear after like 5 days, and then everyone else who's like on the normal schedule. And like, this does matter when there's things like increased damage in PvP if you use like high tier nuke gear. This gives you a significant advantage in a lot of PvE content. People are talking about delaying the raid race. I don't think those bonuses apply to the raid race, and there's a power cap, so I don't know if that would like specifically damage the raid race. I'm not 100% sure on that, but people are pissed about it. I can understand why you wouldn't want one single activity to take 15 minutes for all of the best stuff in the game with nothing else even being worth playing. I get why you might patch that. The problem is that they did not figure this out, or they waited so long to do this. They didn't catch it like day one that it was happening, and they waited 3 days, and that was more than enough time for a ton of people to grind it, and now no one else can. Besides that, I've already seen sentiment really starting to turn against the portal and the power up system that sort of exists for its own sake. Like after the campaign's done, after the raid launches, there's just nothing to do other than increase your power for its own sake to move into higher tiers to get gear that will increase your power and make you a little better to do fill in the blank. Like more the highest tier portal activities. Like that's just sort of it. And those are all old strikes or old missions or whatever. And that's kind of it. Also, powering up doesn't really mean a lot in those because you're shoved under this like minus 50 or whatever power delta. So no matter how powerful you get, it doesn't matter because you're capped all the time under that. So what is even really the point of powering up? This is supposed to be the core system that is engaging players for the entire rest of the at least the next 3 months till the major update. I forget when power resets. It's at 6 months. But yeah, so it's kind of baffling in terms of a reward loop here, like even overlooking the Encore thing. And I think once people are done with the campaign, they're going to run into that and being like, why am I doing this exactly? And I think you're going to see a lot of player fall off. I also don't think any of this is very new player friendly. Like, I've been with this series 11 years and like maybe I'm an idiot, but like a lot of this stuff is kind of difficult to parse in terms of like, when should I be doing this world tier? When should I be doing this stuff in the portal or this playlist or like this, a specific mission? Like I've got a fire team find for it, but it's kind of all over the place, and I don't think it's very coherent. Maybe it will be over time. The portal's supposed to feel streamlined, but it just, I don't know. Either it doesn't or it does, but it doesn't really feel appealing. So I would say things are not great outside of some really cool narrative moments. You're not going to convince me that Kepler is a good zone. Still hate it. But now, kind of the deeper everyone gets into the portal, I don't, really see this being a satisfying long-term grind for people. And then plus, everyone's just pissed at Bungie now for this whole Encore mess. So that's where we are. I didn't do a whole Destiny video, but that's cramming it into a few minutes there. So anyway, thanks for watching. Glad I got to film this today. Thank you for my wife for letting me, allowing this to happen by watching our daughter. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I will talk to you later. Take care.